Hi everyone, if you're new here, welcome to my channel, and if not, then welcome back to another one of my videos. My name is Freyleyce, and today's video is going to be stalker romance recommendations. So this one goes out to all my dark romance girlies out there. Stalker romances are just one of those that like every few months or so, I'll pick one up and I'll be like, this is exactly what I wanted to read right now. Like if I ever get tired of a normal plot, like where they run into each other multiple times, they're like, oh wow, what a coincidence, I'm seeing you here. If that gets boring, then I just revert to a stalker romance. Cause like, it's not a coincidence that you're seeing each other here. He is in fact stalking you. And actually, in one of the books that I'm gonna recommend, she is in fact stalking you. And I don't know, it just adds a level of uniqueness to the plot. We'll call it that, but also I love the like inner turmoil of like, should I be really fucking creeped out or is this kind of hot? Cause like, same. But also, especially if you love dark romance, I feel like it just adds another level of anti-hero. Cause like, I love an anti-hero, right? And if he's a stalker, it just adds another level of anti-hero, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. I'm going along with that like added layer of anti-hero. I don't know why, but I feel like the sex scenes are always unmatched. Like if you're looking for a spicy dark romance that's just like not necessarily steamy, but just has really good sex scenes in it, I feel like stalker romances deliver that, because when you have that added layer of like anti-hero, you know he's not vanilla. You know what I mean? So I don't know, I always love a good stalker anti-hero romance, and these are some of my favorites. So I actually have a pretty big list today. I've been racking these recommendations up for a while, so I'm very excited to get into that. I actually have one in here as well where it's the heroine stalking the hero instead of the hero stalking the heroine, and I actually love that. I feel like it was very unique, and while I didn't give this book like 5 or 6 stars, I wanted to include it because like that's so unique, and I don't think a lot of people know about this book, so I wanted to include it, and we're gonna get to that in a minute. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you're not already, please subscribe, stay tuned for more content, and let's get into these stalker romances. Okay guys, I had to do a wraparound for this. Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton, the OG stalker romance. There's no other book that compares to this stalker romance, at least to me. This one is the blueprint. Zade Meadows, he is the original. Like I'm sure there are many more stalker romances before this was written, but in my mind, this is the blueprint. He is the blueprint. So if you haven't already heard about it, number one, where have you been? This is a stalker romance duet, and it follows Zade and Adeline. Zade, he's the perfect anti-hero. He's a stalker. He is touch her and I kill you. He will cut off someone's hand and send it to Adeline just because he like touched her arm. Yes, he's an anti-hero, but to me, he was extremely redeemable. Like there wasn't even a question in my mind that this man was an anti-hero because of what he does as a job, because of like how he acts around her, because of everything. I mean, he stalks her, so let's not forget that, but he was basically the perfect man. Anyway, like I said, Zade and Adeline. Adeline moves to her grandma's old mansion. She's kind of trying to renovate the mansion. She's also a writer, so she's trying to get like past her writing block. She's trying to find some inspiration, some creativity. Then something starts to go bump in the night, and weird shit keeps happening, and it's so creepy and so just atmospheric. I love that part of it. It's perfect for a spooky read, but I just relate a lot of books to spooky reads because that's like a peak reading time for me. Anyway, the bump in the night, it just so happens to be Zade, and they have this amazing banter. Number one, amazing chemistry, amazing tension, amazing everything, and they are soulmates. I love this book. It's a duet as well, so you have Haunting Adeline, then Hunting Adeline. On the dark scale, I would say it is pretty dark. I mean, it's a stalker romance, stuff happens. But that being said, I've also seen a lot of contemporary readers from Book Talk mainly read this book and love it. So regardless, it's just a great romance. Zade is a perfect anti-hero. It's very steamy, very spicy. The sex scenes are amazing, and I just love this couple so much. Okay, next I want to talk about Duet by Nina G. Jones. So I was torn on whether I wanted to include this one because I read it, yeah, January of 2022. I thoroughly fucking enjoyed it. Like, it was an amazing book. But that being said, I haven't read it in a while, but we're gonna go with what I thought then because this was the perfect stalker romance for me. The hero in this one, oh, he's everything. So it starts off with the heroine talking to her friend, and her friend's telling her about like how she signed up for this really exclusive app for this guy to like come and fuck her at any time of the day. And she's just like, that's horrifying. And then she thinks about it and she's just like, wait. And I was just like, girl, same. Anyway, she signs up for this like club app thing, whatever. And then a few days later, this guy randomly like comes at her out of nowhere. And while she's like completely terrified, she was also kind of like, So turns out the guy who came for her, we'll call it that, was not actually the guy she hired. He was her stalker, who was keeping tabs on her the entire time and realized that she was doing this, and he's like, oh, it's my perfect chance. And there's something between them. There's a big secret of why he's like stalking her. But after that, he number one wants revenge, but he number two just kind of, there's something about her, you know? So he actually like buys her job. And oh, by the way, her job is great. It adds so much to the story. Anyway, he buys the business she works at, so kind of her job, and becomes her boss. And after that, you know, everything just happens. Everything moves into alignment for him. He's like, my plan is coming together. And I thoroughly enjoyed this because not only is he a great stalker, he was, and a hot book boyfriend, he was, he also had like a redeeming quality about him that was really sweet and really heartfelt. He could be vulnerable with her, and at the end of the book, you really saw that come out. Like, he's just like, I fucked up so bad. And she kind of like, yeah, you did, but he's like asking for forgiveness, like all of that. I just thought it was great, you know, like he was stalking her, and then at the end of the book he was like begging her, and I was just like, how the tables have turned. So number one, this book is really, really spicy. I don't remember all the like exact kinks in this or anything, but I just remember it was really steamy and really smutty, and I loved it. And the dynamic between them, I also loved it. It was a really fun book, but at the same time it was also just, what's the word, like it was a good read. Okay, that's all I could say. And I kind of want to reread this book now that I'm talking about it, but I highly recommend it for stalker romance. I gave it like almost 6 stars when I first read it, and I'm pretty sure I'd still give it the same. Next up is the There Are No Saints duet, and I don't know why every time I try and explain about this book, I just like can't get out the words that I'm trying to say, and then I rewatch me talking about it and I'm like, girl, what the fuck are you talking about? So we're gonna give it one more shot. Sorry, it's called The Sinner's Duet. See, that's like first shot right there. It's called The Sinner's Duet, but first book is There Are No Saints, and it is by Sophie Lark, and the covers are gorgeous. Just wanted to tell you. So this follows 2 artists, Mara and Cole. Cole is really successful. He's like got a lot of money. A lot of people know him. He's got more of the fame, more of the clout. And Mara is struggling. She's just starting out. She can barely afford her rent. She's just struggling, but she has a deep passion for it. But unfortunately, she gets caught in the web of 2 serial killers. And one of them is Cole. But Cole's actually kind of the better guy in this one. Yes, he like stalks her, and there's a great stalking scene where he can like see straight through her window. And then like stuff happens, you know what I mean? And I was just like, Cole to me was not the villain in this. He was an anti-hero, but he was not the villain. The other serial killer is definitely the villain. It's an MF romance, just the 2 of them. The other guy is the fucking villain. Anyway, on the stalker aspect, it was great. Would stalk her in her house. He went in her house once, and while that doesn't last too long, like it only lasts a portion of the first book, I thought the stalker part was great. But not only that, the entire book is great. It's really fun. I can't believe I just said that about a book with serial killers in it, but it's fun in the way that I really loved Cole and Mara's dynamic. They were great together. It had a lot of action, and there was a lot of like plot beside the romance, and I thought it was a perfect mix. So I really enjoyed it. Romance, fire, spice scenes off the charts. I don't know what it is about stalker romances being extra smutty and spicy, but they are. This one is one of them. It was so good. Another romance duet, and I just love those. I will say the second book, in my opinion, it was not as good as the first book, but it is also more spicy. And there's some fun spice scenes in there too, so, you know, it was still good. Next up is don't let me get this wrong, book 6, I think, in the Fallen Men series by Gianna Darling, and I'm recommending it because you can actually read it as a standalone. Would I read it as a standalone? No, because the entire Fallen Men series is so fucking good. But if you wanted to read just a stalker romance, you were just only in the mood for a stalker romance, didn't want to read the series, then you can read it as a standalone. So this is Dead Man Walking, and it's amazing. So in the first books of the series, you can kind of see the relationship between these 2 kind of builds up, and that's why I think you should read the entire series. But I mean, there's still a lot of tension in the book itself, so that's kind of fun. So this follows Bia, I think it is, or B, I have no idea, and Priest. Priest is a scarred, tortured hero. Why am I smiling about that? Because he's so fucking cute. He's really tortured. He's been through so much. He's also the enforcer of a motorcycle club, and if you don't know too much about motorcycle clubs, enforcer is the guy that unalives people, mainly, or at least tortures them. So he's got a tough job, but he's also been through so much, and he's like a tortured hero, closed off, grumpy, but it's okay because Bia is a sunshine heroine, and she is very sunshiny, and she kind of has her eyes set on him. She's around the MC club because her sister is in the first book in the series. That's her sister's story, but she's around the MC club a lot, and she's kind of seen Priest and just been like, I really want you. And he's just like, number one, I think there's like an 8-year age gap or something, and he's just like, I'm way too like grumpy, tortured, everything for you, like I am darkness, you are sunshine. Absolutely not. And she's just like, no, I want you. And the beginning of this book, they really go back and forth with that, but even though he's like, no, you're too good for me, absolutely not, he just still can't stay away from her. So what does he do? He stalks her. That's the only logical answer to that question, obviously. So he just cannot stay away from her, like literally. She just emits sunshine, emits love and everything, and he needs that, you know? So that's why in this book I really thought they were soulmates. Their love was so beautiful, and I really enjoyed this book. Not only does it have a lot of tension and it gives me like a lot of butterflies, it's smutty, it's engaging in the way that there's actually not too much plot in this one because there's so much like of priest past in here, but still, I don't know, everything about this book, I loved it. You can read it as a standalone and you won't be missing out on too much, just like the sly glances that they would give each other in the books before. Okay, next one I want to talk about is Corruption by Jennica Snow. This is a mafia romance. This follows Ruin or Kostya, and he was childhood friends with the heroine Anastasia from when they were like little kids to I think like 10 or early teens, and all of a sudden he was like ripped away from her because he had to go train to be a soldier for the Bratva, and a lot of stuff happens for him after that. He just like taken one day, and Anastasia is just like, you left me, I will never fucking trust you ever again. And so when he comes back, like I don't know, like 10 years something later, he's just like, you're mine, I've been waiting this entire time, I have been stalking you for years because I'm like biding my time, I'm waiting for a war to be over, I'm waiting until I can have you. And so yeah, he stalks her for like a large majority of that time. He has to stay away for reasons that if you read it you will see, but he still can't stay away, so he stalks her. A Russian mafia man stalking his childhood best friend that he's in love with. Yeah, I love this book. So yeah, once he can be with her, he's just like, you're mine. And she's still pissed at him, right? Because he left her, no explanation, and she's pissed. But obviously she gets over it. He just loves her like so much. And he's pretty insane in the way that like extreme touch her and I kill you. Very possessive, very protective. And he's like completely obsessed with her as well. There's a 10-year age gap in this one. And another one of my favorite tropes, the heroine is a ballerina. I don't know why, but that just like hits on another level every single time. And yeah, Kostya or Ruin is just everything like obsessed, possessive, touch her and I kill you. I hate everyone else in the world but you. Like he's that to an extreme. So yeah, if you love that kind of hero with a stalker romance, a little bit of an age gap, and best friends to lovers, like this is the book. This one is also extremely spicy. Kinky, steamy, smutty, everything. It's a pretty fast-paced book as well, so it doesn't go too deep into everything, but if you're looking for a great fun read that's smutty, this is the one. Okay, next is Make Me by Summer O'Toole, and this is the book where the heroine stalks the hero. So she thinks that the hero, Cash, had something to do with her best friend's disappearance and supposed death. And so she's like, I'm gonna get it out of you, I'm gonna figure out what the fuck you're up to, and I'm gonna report you to the police and you're gonna be in jail for life. So she tries to stalk him, and it's quite funny because he can totally tell. Like when you see the chapters from his point of view, he's just like, there's this hot girl following me in the streets, and then she thinks she's sly, but I can see everything she's doing. And she thinks she's like so lucky when she gets a job at his restaurant to like spy on him, but in reality he put the sign on the door. He asked the restaurant manager to hire her directly, no questions asked. So like, you know, he was one step ahead of her, but it was still funny to like see her try and stalk him. Anyway, she still thinks that he's responsible for all this, so she's gonna get it out of him. She thinks that like getting closer to him will help, but she ends up falling in love with him. He ends up falling in love with her. This one is super steamy, super smutty, super spicy, like everything about that. And it's also mafia, so there's like little hints of mafia in there, not too heavy on the mafia plot, but still fun, still a fast-paced read. Stalker romance with a heroine, like that's super unique to me, really enjoyable, and it was a great read. Okay, I have one more book to talk about before I give an honorable mention that I decided to take off the list. I wasn't satisfied with it, and the few times that I've recommended it, you guys come back and be like, that book was fucking terrible. So it's an honorable mention, but first I wanted to talk about Kiss of Venom by Bina Khan. If you've watched any of my videos in the past few months, you know I'm obsessed with this book. So yeah, this one is a forbidden romance. It follows the heroine, Ghislaine, and the hero, Alexander. So Ghislaine was the wife of a like high up FBI detective, and she's a detective herself as well, and Alexander is the head of the Russian mafia. So you know there's some stuff that happens there. Ghislaine's husband dies, and because of her injuries in the car crash that killed her husband, Ghislaine was in a coma for 3 years. And there's a little bit of like fantasy or retelling element in here because like he comes into the hospital to unalive someone, stumbles upon her room, and her daughter's like, "Sir, will you kiss my mommy?" And so he does, because I think he recognizes her because like her face is plastered all over FBI shit, and he's just like, I'll kiss her, yeah. And then she wakes up, And then she's just like, what the fuck? Who the fuck are you? And then when she gets back to her job and she finds out like, what the fuck? That was a mob boss my husband has been trying to like put in jail for years. And after that, he just can't stay away from her. He does not stalk her though. The stalker part's coming after. And they're just put in like circumstances all the time. He's saving her because she just cannot seem to like get back to what her life was before. She's still struggling after coming out of a coma, and he's always there for her. And he's always there to save her. So we love that, number one. But once they get together, it's very, very passionate. Not in a like smutty way, but like their love is very passionate and they're deeply in love. But then he does something and she finds out something and she is so pissed at him. So pissed. And she obviously like kicks him out. She's like, you're never coming around me or my daughter ever again. Never seeing you again. I fucking hate you. That was great, by the way. And he's just like begging at her feet, like, please don't do this. And she's just like, how can I trust you? How can I love you? You did this. And so because he can't stay away and she makes him grovel for like a year, I think, he obviously can't stay away from her the entire time. He stalks her. So why I want to recommend this is because to me, them already having that connection made the stalking so much better. Like he's at her window every single night throwing rocks at her window and she's just like giving him the finger as she closes the curtains, right? And during the day, she goes somewhere, he's following her. She doesn't see those parts. She only sees when he's begging underneath her window every night. And I was just like, oh, that makes it so much better because there's already the connection there. There's even more tension in the stalking and everything was just so good for that. So that goes on for a while actually. He groveled for a good reason. If you love a groveling hero, an obsessed hero, this is it. Plus, he was stalking her, like, yes. Okay, time for my honorable mention, even though nothing could top that last book, by the way, A Kiss of Venom, best stalking romance on here. An honorable mention is The Ritual by Chantal Tessier. This is a dark college romance, and it's very secret society-ish, so the hero, whose name I just forgot, needs to find a chosen one, or something like that. A chosen? He needs to find a chosen. So he stalks the heroine Blakely and is like, you're gonna be my chosen. Even though she's already dating someone, they hate each other in the hallways, like it's not gonna happen. It's not a good match, but he's intent on making it a good match. So he stalks her, he does everything. It's fucked up, it's twisted, it's smutty, and a lot of people love it or fucking hate it. So, you know, it's up to you if you want to read it or not. I wanted to include it as an honorable mention though. Alright everyone, that is the end of my video today. Those were all the like 8 or 9 recommendations I had. I really hope you enjoyed this because as a love trope of mine, these are some amazing books on here. I love all of them so much and I really hope you read them or at least find one to put on your TBR. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, all my links are down in the description. You can find my email, my Goodreads, my Instagram, and more. My camera died. And I was literally about 30 seconds away from finishing the video. Fuck you. Everyone's support is so appreciated. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video very soon.